Hello, it's me, Aaron, from the past. Yeah, here we are on my computer in Unity. So let's go ahead and pull up my project that I've been working on for the past couple of weeks. As we open it up here, we should be taken directly into the Unity editor, which is where you handle most of the actual in-game asset placement, the creation of assets, the adding of components and classes to various objects within the game world, and the creation of prefabs and such, creating a world. So here we can see this is the Unity editor. I was following a tutorial that I had purchased a while back, to get into this and to help understand this. So I'd already had a little bit started, not a huge amount, but this was the game I created. You can see here, this is kind of the one scene that I've made. The tutorial itself was 42 hours. I'm about 20 some odd hours into it, so uh, I'm definitely not done with it, but I'm, well into the project. So you can see this is kind of the world, bit of a forest and a village area, and our hero character here. So let's go ahead and actually see what the game looks like, and then once we get that going, and you kind of see how everything works, we'll go ahead and show a bit of the code behind. So if we hit play here, we'll get taken into the game view. You can see we're following our character. We can run around, the camera follows us, kind of got a bit of an isometric camera, so it doesn't follow you directly. You can see the camera kind of lags and comes back and follows where you're going. As we come around here, we can go ahead and approach the village a little bit. Trigger a bit of a cutscene there. We got some enemies within the town, and this big bad enemy right here, guarding the way out of town. So, now that we are back in control of our character, one of the design principles talked about in the tutorial was um, moments. And this is a moment where you enter the village, and you're going through the village, and you have challenges you have to face while going through this area. So, a big aspect of these moments is player choice, and having different options that your player can take in order to get through a moment. So here I've set out two and a half options. The big options are either to go straight through the town and deal with enemies that are within there, or to take this little forest path that goes off and around the back. Also, you could sneak off around the back here through the gardens. Go ahead and go through the forest path, because this is the area I kind of like the most. So let's see if we can come over here and fight these enemies. Go ahead and hit these guys, switch over to hitting that guy. Go ahead and knock these guys out. Continue on the path. It looks like we have another enemy up here. Go ahead and take him out. How's our health looking? I don't have a health bar UI set up yet, but we can look in the components. We still have quite a bit of health left. So we'll go ahead and keep sneaking up on through this forest area here. Sneak around those guards. And now we are here at the big bad guy. Let's go ahead and take out the little guy first. So we can take him out in 3 hits. This big guy takes a few more hits, and he actually does quite a chunk of damage each time he hits, but we managed to take him out. So that's kind of that. We can actually go ahead and restart and then pop back into the beginning of the scene. And you'll see the cutscene plays again. You actually can't control the character while this cutscene is going. You can see I'm clicking on these enemies and such. But when we get back to my character screen, you can see I haven't moved at all. Let's go ahead and go through here. You see that the enemies are actually patrolling on certain paths there, hanging out at certain points. You can see him kind of stop, come there, and when I get within range, he'll start following me. But once I get out of range, he'll stop, kind of wait around, look for me a bit, and then continue on his appropriate path. All the AIs will do this. You don't have to fight them. You can run away. We come up to these guys. These guys will both follow me, kind of try to hit me a bit. Once I get out of their attack range, they can't stop there, and then they walk back to the guard post, watching over that building there. So let's go ahead and stop this and go ahead and take a look at some of the code behind what's going on here. You can see on our player object, which is a sub prefab of the character object. We look at character and open the prefab there. You can see we've got a few components on here. With default set, this character object is what will be made anytime a new character has to be made. So the player, enemies, if I was going to make different types of enemies or companions, NPCs, everything would be a character. That has certain things like the ability to fight or to move, has some health, and so on and so forth. And coming into different prefabs like the player is a bit more complicated. It's got the player controller script, which is how we move the player around and whatnot, and the enemy, which does not have that, but has the AI controller, which controls all of these various timers and such that tell you how they behave, how far they will detect you from, how long they'll stay around once they don't detect you anymore, how they'll follow their patrol paths and which patrol paths they're assigned to. But the real thinking and logic comes in these scripts here. We look in these different folders. We have quite a few different scripts that control various things, from the camera to the health to movement to, that's not a script, I don't know why that's in there, to patrol paths and controllers and things that control the cinematics. The most important ones really are the ones here in the control. These handle the player and the AI movement. Go ahead and open up our player controller. Once this loads, it's taking a hot minute. You can see that we are using C# in order to code behind all these files. Now C# allows us to do quite a few things as a object-oriented language. Lets us create different objects such as the fighter. The fighter is actually an object created within here that has different attributes and such set up to it that we can call and update to and control in order to create fighter actions. And here, we're creating our health object, which is created within the health script there. And the update function is probably the most important function that I've seen working with this project. Update will update every frame of the game. Most games run at about 30 to 60 frames a second, so this update is actually being called 30 to 60 times every second. And it checks various statuses in order to interact with the game. So if health is dead, which is a Boolean value that determines whether or not the character has reached 0 health. So if they're dead, return. We can't, it'll cycle through and not interact with movement or combat. Essentially meaning you can't do anything if you are dead. If you click on combat, we'll come in here and we search with raycasts, which is essentially coming from your camera to where you click your mouse. It sends a line straight through that, and with this raycast all, it's getting an array of all the different objects that are interacted with that raycast, and getting a list of those objects. If any of them is a target, we're going to go ahead and fight it. If it's not a target, then we cycle on to the next object and see if we can hit. If none of these are targets, we return and move. And then when we move to the location. But it looks like I am actually out of time for what I can talk about. Um, Definitely had a lot of fun with this. I learned quite a bit about C# and the different things you can do in the Unity environment within C#. Alright, take it away, Aaron.